I got the aim to have a dissertation proposal in the first semester. I recognized that I need to do a research about film studies because I'm very interested in films, which is also the main reason that I'm studying here. However, facing these quite complex research contents, so I need to think about what specific film I should focus on and what my research questions are about identity, representation, or audience. About previous research, what does it have me? And what theoretical positions I should stand. So I think at that time they are quite huge and hard questions for me. In last year's September, I occasionally found out a film review written by Atlantic to criticize Chinese film series Tiny Times. Because I watched that film before, so it attracts me. For the title, it's quite aggressive. China's Sex and the City film is a great leap backward for women. What kind of film does Tiny Times belong to, which can trigger American media's attention? I think it's a big question. For the Tiny Times, it's actually a 3-episode film series written and directed by very famous Chinese writer Guo Jiming. He is good at writing some fashion novels related to young people's campus life, and most of them are controversial because they convey a kind of boastful value. But in the meantime, they are very welcome for Chinese school students. In China, this film series has very poor performance in the internet, just got 4.8 marks of 10 in mainstream film social network Douban. But its box office was incredible, has got about 45 million pounds and ranked number 10 in 2013 Chinese total domestic box office. The Atlantic's film review is very impressive for me. It tries to talk about the film from a representational way relating to audience research. But it's just based on writers' personal feelings and experiences. So I think I can do it with academic style as my dissertation. But the question comes, what's my methodology of this research? For the first essay, it's about how to collect data. I've actually made a detour to discuss two kinds of the narrative approaches. After that, I found out quantitative methods that should make sense. Interview and focus group are two good ways to collect data. I think for my project, the interview is better because I plan to grab audience direct personal experiences for the film. More importantly, what different feelings for the film that different audience identities have, which are my main concern. Through the analysis, I think both of them can be revealed by face-to-face interview, so interview will be used to collect data for my research. For my second essay, it's about how to analyze data. I compared two methods, discourse analysis and narrative analysis, and applying them on my own project. At the end of that essay, I chose narrative analysis as the method to analyze my further data. But at that time, I didn't ensure interview would be my methodology to collect data, so narrative analysis is not probably suitable for my collected data. In fact, Foucauldian discourse analysis is a good way to analyze data. because FDA not only aim to data from language communication, but also extend the concept of discourse to be ideology, subjectivity, and power. I therefore can analyze that how different audience identities affect their decodings, how discourse of decodings show audience identities. I think they are going to be very important results to construct my research. For the third essay, I picked up the essay question, critically assess the different ways of understanding identity in audience research. I introduced the two ways to classify people's identities, gender and age, and then paid more close attention on two aspects for audience research. When I focus on audience, I need to think about how different audience identities affect their feelings for the film, and what they are going to do after watching the film. I think I can deal with it via analyzing interview from audience. When I focus on representation, I need to think about how the film represents audience identities, and what the film is going to do after audience feedback. For these issues, I need to have a close read for the text, the film, and consider the specific context of the film. I think they are the four things I'm going to do for further research. I think basically my further work still needs to follow two aspects, audience and representation, to extend analysis. For the audience, I will interview some Chinese audiences who have watched Tiny Times already. They can be female or male, students or working now. I need to listen different voices from audiences and then extract their discourse about the film for discourse analysis. Moreover, I decided to collect some video data from YouTube. I will watch and analyze some video clips which are made by adoring audiences of Tiny Times. Basically, most of them are pastiches. For example, this guy imitates 7 rows of Tiny Times. I need to think about how these pastiches criticize or deconstruct the hegemony of original text. For that example, it might be related to constructions of counter-hegemonic sexualities and gender politics. So they would be main concern for visual analysis. For the representation, I like to use semiotics to analyze characters, except the discourse of characters, environments, costumes, or construct the identities of roles. So they should be put into the intertextuality to analyze. Additionally, writer and director Guo Jingming is to be concentrated because he actually uses his own experiences to construct the roles and the story. Therefore, it might connect author theory. For the entire research representation part in particular, I need to consider reflexivity. I have to recognize what my subjectivity is and clarify the construction out of my research.